Hello everyone and welcome to Tipsy, where we actually provide you with top tips to meet your specific need. So if you're new to this channel, consider hitting the like and subscribe button and also enable the notification bell icon so as to be the very first to receive new post notifications and updates whenever we create a new video or tutorial. Without wasting any much time, let's dive directly into our today's episode. So in our today's episode, we are actually going to be introducing you to top 5 practical expert tips for predicting home or away win match picks when it comes to soccer match predictions. And of course, we are actually going to be listing these 5 tips, after which we are actually going to do practical examples step by step. To begin with, out of these 5 expert tips, the most important and relevant here is to make sure that we use reliable data sources to support our choices of picks. This actually means choosing those sites which are actually reliable that we can actually use to make data analysis and compare teams to come out with the best match pick choices. And of course, I will actually list 2 of this kind of reliable data sources websites that you can actually use to make your analysis. One of these sites include a site such as SofaScore.com, which actually looks like this from the front page, as you can see here, SofaScore.com, and the next in our list is actually a site called SoccerStat.com. These 2 websites are one of the best and reliable that you can actually use to make your data analysis and compare teams to come out with the best picks when it concerns home or away win match predictions for the best picks. And of course, to begin with, I will actually list the other 4 of these tips or expert tips so that we're actually going to use it practically by using these 2 websites to see what we are actually going to come out with for this tutorial step by step. As the first to begin, I want to list that the very other important tip when it concerns picks of whether a home or away match is going to win, then of course we have to make sure that we check the home and away record of both teams. Why is this very relevant? This is because some teams actually perform better at home as compared to other teams which actually perform better at away. So the first here in our list is to check the home and away record of both teams. The next is actually to consider the form and motivation of this team. Why this is very important is because, especially in the table position, there are some teams that, of course, actually, as an example, have a good position on the league table. And because they have a good position, they are actually being motivated to make sure that they actually lead most matches as compared to teams which are actually in the relegation. So the third in our list is to make sure that we analyze the head-to-head history of both teams to make sure that we come out with the best picks when it concerns this. After which, the last, which is the last of our list, is to evaluate the quality of each team. So why this is important is because the quality of team experience as well as due to key players will actually influence the match. So now is to make sure that we are actually going to go step by step to use all of these 5 practical tips which we have actually mentioned to you so that you can actually see how we use this process step by steps, so you can also use this same method to analyze picks when it comes to home or away win match picks. To begin with, I'll first of all want to introduce you to a match. Like in the case of SoccerStat, I want to come here to this match in the Malaysia Superliga, as you can see here. In the Malaysia Superliga, in this league, if I scroll down of this page, what you are going to notice is that I want to compare this team called Johor Darul. If you look at the performance of Johor Darul, you are going to see that most of the matches they have actually played have actually had a good performance, as you can see in this case. But of course, I also want to compare this match, this team with another team, such as a team called, same in the Malaysia Superliga, another team which is actually called Kushin. But before we dive into this area, I'll first of all want to come first here and try to show you that based on this here, you are going to see that in the Malaysia Superliga, Johor has actually played with Kuching, and Johor played away while it still beat Kuching 4-0. But what happened that this actually ended like this? I want to analyze this so you can actually see the practical example which we are actually going to apply. By coming back here on this page that you are going to see that Johor Darul, if we try to scroll down here, you are going to see that based on progression in home and away performance, you are going to see this data graph which actually tells you that Johor Darul has a very great performance not only at home but also in away. If we continue to scroll down, we are going to see that based on results, you can see the performance of Johor Darul. They are very great here. And if you still scroll down, you are going to see the scoring and conceding rates of Johor Darul and more other data analysis that you can actually see here, which will actually influence your pick when it concerns this. If we compare this Johor Darul as compared to Kuching that they actually play with it and actually ended as 4-0, if I want to actually come now to the next, which is Kuching, and compare it, you are going to see that Kuching here have actually lost a lot of games. If we look at the progression table, both home and away, you are going to see that the data graph is not progressive as compared to Johor based on the data graph here, which have a progressive data graph. That is already one advantage to tell you that Johor has a better performance. And if this match where you were to make a pick, then of course Johor Darul could have been your favorite to take for it as to take a straight win in this game. Also, we want to compare this area that actually says seasonal match statistics. We want to compare Johor Darul with Kuching based on the seasonal match statistics. Now, of course, if you look at the plate, win, draw, lose, as you can see here, both home and away, you are going to see that Kuching has actually played 5-6 games at home. It has not yet win any, and it has draw 1 and lose up to 5. It means that even at home, Kuching is very, very poor, and they have played 6 games, they have not actually win any. If we compare that with Johor Darul, you are going to see that they have actually played 5 games, win all of the 5, and based on away game, they have played 6 and they have won all of the 6. In other words, they are good both at home and away, which means that even if Johor Darul could have played, even as they played now away and Kuching is home, they still have the higher chances to beat Kuching because based on the data analysis, Kuching performance at home is very poor. That is why the Johor Darul take the upper hand because it has a better rate to play both at home and away. This is an example of practical example that you can actually use to compare games based on the seasonal match statistics as well as the progression table as you can see here based on the data graph. Also, not only there, you can also see the resulting table as you can see here comparing the resulting table and how they actually perform both of these teams, their goal score rate capacity and compared with the opponent. As an example also, if I come back to Johor Darul, you are going to see that their performance here based on the number of game played and points and both on away they are better as compared to the opponent. If we scroll down as compared to the opponent, you are going to see goal scored and goal concede is better for goal score concede as compared to Kuching in goal score concede. Therefore, it is very reliable to actually say if this match were to repeat or if you go to the number or to the games which are actually to be played, Johor Darul always have an upper hand. Therefore, we are also going to use the next example using the next site to compare this data analysis with a different team. As an example, I will come now to SofaScore so that we are going to see an example here with a different explanation. Of course, this is actually a Champions League. If we look here on the Champions League statistics, Manchester City versus Lepex, we are going to see that if we scroll down here and try to look at data analysis, there is something that we are actually going to see. I will actually want to load this page so that we see everything that is actually here. We can compare data analysis and come out with the best pick. If this match were to be displayed to you for you to make, which is actually going to win both home and away, then you are actually going to see an easy strategy or easy which to actually pick when it concerns this. First of all, as the first thing to look at whenever you are comparing matches between two teams based on SofaScore with data analysis, what you want to look at is to first of all look at the player average position and statistics. If you look at this table, you are going to see that as an example, we have Erling Haaland here. As you can see here, he is having actually a rate of 10 as compared to their highest offensive player here, who actually has a rate of 8.3. You cannot compare 10 and 8.3, or want to increase this so that you can see it even further what I'm trying to say. So I will actually want to compare these two teams based on the data analysis of the player rating as well as their average position rate. And of course, if you look at here, we have Erling Haaland as having an average rating of 10 as compared to their most offensive player as the striker, who has a rate of 6.3. You cannot compare this because, of course, Erling Haaland has a better performance as compared to their highest offensive player. Same way, if you look based on their line or their striker at this area, you can see 27, 10, and 17. You can see that their ratings here are very, very slim. Or you can see that their rating here are very slim. You can see 5.7, 5.7, and 6.0 as maximum. But if you look here at the offensive line of the opponent, you can see that they have 6.8, 8.8, 6.9, 7.7, and 10. In other words, this team, which is actually Man City, has an upper hand as compared to the opponent, which is actually playing Lepex. That is why you can see this actually ended as 7-0. That's 7-0. Not only there will you end to check those data analysis, you can as well make sure to come down here based on this area. You are going to see an area that says past matches. Try to look at home performance of this team as well as the away performance and compare the two. You are going to see that based on the data analysis gathered here, the performance of Man City at home is better as compared to Lepex even at away. Now what you want to do as the next step is to look at the recent head-to-head or past head-to-head matches between these two teams to come out with a particular simple line of trick to see what you can actually come out with. Now, if you look at the past performance game between Man City and Lepex in 2021, you are going to see that when Man City played home, it beat it 6-3. And when Lepex is at home, it beats Man City 2-1. And if you look all of this comparison, you are going to see that all of the time that Man City has always played with Lepex, they have always lead. Therefore, Man City has more upper hand when it is actually at home as compared to Lepex when it is actually playing away. This is another analysis to tell you that with this game, Man City has the upper hand to actually lead this game, as you can see here, as compared to the other data analysis of the other team where Johor actually played away. In this case that you can see here, Johor actually played away, but it still beat Kuching. You can see Johor was at away and it beat Kuching 4-0. In the other case, you can see that Man City is at home. It actually beat its opponent 7-0. So this is actually the comparison of data analysis to come out with the best picks and to what actually to check or what you should take into consideration to come out with the best home or away win match predictions with this practical example. To round up, I'll still want to make sure that I make a recap of what we have actually touched. As the first very important thing to look at as a recap, make sure to choose a reliable and experienced data source website such as SofaScore and SocaStat, as in this case, to make those analyses to come out with the best picks. Secondly, you have to make sure that you check the home and away performance record of both teams, since some teams actually perform better at home as compared to others as away. Also, make sure to consider the form of the team and the motivation based on position table and league table. As an example, in this case, if you come to the table position and try to look at the position of this team, as an example, in the case of Johor, we want to make sure that we come to the league table or the performance table to check how this team actually perform based on their table standings. What I want to do is to come to this area that actually says matches or forms. If I click on form, you are going to see that compare the forms or standings, you are going to see that Johor is better. And when it actually concerns comparison of this team based on the standing table or statistics table, then of course make sure to come to this area like in the case of Malaysia Superliga or Malaysia Superliga. Make sure to come to this area here that says statistics and come to this area that says home and away table. Click on it. When you click on home or away table, a standing table will actually be displayed to you where you can actually see the performance of these teams on the standing table, how they actually perform both home and away, and make a comparison to see which one actually performed better at home as compared to the away, and which one actually performed better at away as compared to the home. And you are going to come out with the most reliable data picks and match predictions when it concerns these practical tips example. So in the recap, I'll still want to go through the recap which we have said. One of the most important is to make sure you actually use reliable data source websites such as StatArea and SofaScore to come out with the best picks. After which you have to make sure that you check the home and away performance or record of both teams to see the performance of which team actually performed better at home as compared to away. Next, make sure to consider the form of this team, which team actually have a good position on the league table, as in this case where we have actually seen here based on the comparison of table, as you can see here on the statistics on home and away table analysis. Next is to make sure that you analyze the head-to-head history of both teams, because of course psychologically some teams, since they actually always perform better at home, they want to take that advantage to always lead as same way as the away. The next is to make sure that you evaluate the quality of each team, the experience, and of course the talents of the player. As in the case of here between Man City with Leopards, you can see that based on this statistic table, based on the ratings of each player, you are going to see that their most offensive player as Erling Haaland is better with a rate of 10 as compared to the away, which their most offensive player is 6.3 as compared to their line of striker who have better rating as compared to the line of striker of Leopards. That is why, of course, Man City must have the upper hand, as you can see in this case, that has actually lead 7-0. So thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also enable the notification bell icon so as to be the very first to receive new post notifications and update, and see you again in our next episode. Bye bye.
And now I know my heart is a ghost town.